published it in March 1st, 2021, and we on through KDB Publishing and Amazon. My co-author and me chose that date because that March 1st was the month and day that my daughter passed. So we chose that day to release the book. The book picks up 7 years into my grief journey, and to make a very long story short, through a series of very serendipitous events and my own intention to state to the universe that I wanted something more, that my soul needed something more than I was getting to continue to move through my journey as a bereaved parent, as a grieving parent. I asked for something more, and that more came in the presence, the form of a woman by the name of the Reverend Patty Farino, an interfaith minister from Long Island. I ended up staying at her house for a weekend in November that permanently transformed the way I looked at life, death, and life after death. Patty is a person that walks a very sacred path. She is very intuitive. And essentially what happened is that during that weekend, my daughter chose to come through Patty to remind me of what I was missing out on in life. And from there, from that experience, I was introduced to a whole new perspective, spiritual perspective, which led to marathon conversations with Patty and myself that provide a framework for how psychology and spirituality can intermingle to help individuals through times of challenge. And that's, we had talked about doing this book for a long time. I said to Pat, I said, we really got to do something like this. People need to know what I learned, what we learned, what you helped me see. And she resisted it for a long time because she's not a person that is about money. She's not about fame. She surely is invested, as in any minister, to help people find their path and help people find their true calling, and to inspire other individuals to help others find their calling. So she finally agreed in 2019 that we were going to write the book. This book came together in light speed. It was divinely inspired, and we put it together. And it's for those who are interested, it's on Amazon. I know it's on Amazon in the UK because you got Amazon there. We are proud of the book that we did. We've got some really great feedback. People have indicated that it's really helped shift their perspective about a lot of different things, create some awareness. Patty's work with me and helped me do healing in other areas that I didn't think was possible. And it helped me through the influence of, through my daughter coming through to Patty and through Patty, helped me realize that I was more than just a parent who lost a child. One of the messages I got through my daughter was that, she said, Dad, you're doing a great job honoring me, but you have 2 sons, you have a wife, you have your students, you have other things that you need to also, I'm always going to be here, but you need to celebrate the totality of your life. You need to honor that. Just not honor me, honor everything else that's a part of you. And I got that message. And because of that, and the ongoing work with Patty, I have been able to find peace after my daughter's passing and acceptance of the fact that the world that I live in now does not have my daughter in it, but I know physically present, but I know that I now, because of Patty's influence and through some other influential spiritual teachers, that I can share a continued bond and relationship with Jeannine, and that she is always going to be a part of my life. Because I opened myself up to that, the whole world opened up for me in ways that I never thought were possible. But if it all started with simple intent. I said after the conference, I just looked up at the sky. I was driving some of the conference presenters to see some of the fall colors in upstate New York. And they were having an intense spiritual conversation. I just said, I want to be where they are. And all I wanted was to have an increased understanding of spirituality so I could take the next step. What I asked for, I got more than I bargained for. I got a whole different perspective, which proves that the power of intent can't be underestimated. So that is kind of a capsule summary of how the book came together, how Patty came into my life. And we hope that for whoever reads the book, it'll provide them some peace, a different perspective, and plant some seeds.
No,
I
love that.
We also have a part 2 that's geared to the younger generation, because they also tend to be misunderstood in terms, there's a lot of younger adults who come into this world with a lot of intuitive abilities that see the world multidimensionally, but they're afraid to honor that because they're afraid they're going to be seen as being misunderstood or seen as having some type of an abnormal illness. And so we talk about in the book those children who come into this world with a high sense of knowing and that their abilities need to be honored. And my support system is individuals who are grounded in science, and I'm still firmly grounded in science. In the book, we also talk about this. So you don't have to abandon your core beliefs to incorporate different ones. It's always in addition to instead of. So I'm firmly grounded in science, but there's some things science can't explain. And there's other things that spiritual practices can give a better context to, as far as behavior, as far as understanding. So I'm a firm believer in integrating what works, whether it's science and or spiritual practices. Whatever's going to work, whatever that person believes is going to work. And there's room for all beliefs. We don't have to judge a person's beliefs as being, well, this is bad because it doesn't fall into line with what I believe. No, I can learn from Ben. Ben, I can learn from you. I can learn from you, Jeannine, just so you can learn from me. You may see the grief path differently, but who's to say that I can't learn from that I can't incorporate what I think, hey, this may work for me, or you can't incorporate what you think may work for me. We don't have to buy all of it, or we don't have to buy into all of it, but man, we don't have to challenge it either. We can just witness it and we can say, okay, what works? Maybe none of it works. But the bottom line is we find our own truth without attacking each other for how we choose to grieve.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's powerful what you said. And it seems like that book was a catalyst for your change and a moment where you realized, actually, I'm not living in my true form, in a sense where you had that moment of your daughter kind of coming to you and saying, like, yes, you're doing a fantastic job honoring me, but I know there's more of you that you can give, not only to her, but to the world, and being yourself. And I think that's what's important. Is like with grief, like it's very consuming, and a lot of the time, yes, I think we honor our loved ones who we lost in many different ways, and like you said, there's not like one way to kind of do things or one set of beliefs. Everything we can take what we want from different things and different people, so I think that's definitely a good point you raised there. And just for, I know we kind of know, but just for people who do want to know more about the book, what's the name of the book?
The name of the book is When the Psychology Professor Met the Minister. It is available on Amazon, and obviously anywhere Amazon is. I know UK has an Amazon. So I go on Amazon, I think it's .com or UK. I don't know what the link is, but they can go on the UK link and just Google When the Psychology Professor Met the Minister and find it. If they want to find out more about Patty and me and our work and look at, they can go to psychologyprofessorandminister.com. That's our dedicated website to the book. We also have a blog, The Story Continues, where we've had individuals who have come forward to write their thoughts about the book and about what revelations that occurred and for them, and also the contact that they had with Pat, with Reverend Patty, and how that changed their lives as well too. And there's website reviews, and also if they go to Amazon, we've got really some really nice reviews about the book. and it's available on Kindle format and paperback, whatever, whatever format is doable. So, so yeah, they can just go on Amazon. On our website, we also have an about the book section, and there's also a link. Obviously, the Amazon US, we got the link to that, but obviously the UK, I know, has their own link for Amazon. So anybody in the UK can just go to Amazon and purchase it. We've had one person from the UK purchase it already. Early
Oh,
on.
nice. I mean, I'll make sure I put all the relevant links, so not to worry. I'll make sure all the links are there. And
I appreciate that.
I have a question for both of you. Would you say grief has given you a different perspective in life? So what I mean by that is you learn to love your family and friends more, and obviously also obviously everyone is going through their own grief in their different way. And how do you see that in your own perspective? And that's for both of you talks.
Okay, Jermaine, I'll kick it. I'll defer to you, then I'll go. How's that?
yeah, of course. Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely given me different perspective. Like, I think one big thing for me is definitely more appreciation for the people around me and just my own life as well, because you understand, you learn that, like, literally tomorrow is not promised, as the cliche saying goes. Literally, it's not. And rather than trying to control, or kind of, as I'll call it, wait around until your time comes, I think it's about what you're doing with your time. So it's more of the idea of quality over quantity. So because we know that the quantity is out of our control, meaning the time we have is out of control, but the quality of life we decide to live, that's all on us. And and the beauty about that is that we can there's always time for a fresh start. So whether it's tomorrow, I say to myself, I'm gonna live with more intention or live with more purpose, I can do that for however long I see fit. And if I want to feel, okay, this is not working, I want to live life in this way because it's better than what I was doing before, then I can do that. So I think there's beauty in being able to kind of restart yourself. And a lot of the time, that kind of moment of realization, maybe for some people, it doesn't come from, loss. It comes from maybe just a moment of frustration where they are in life. But unfortunately for me, that moment of restarting and appreciating has come from loss. But I wouldn't say that that's the only way we can appreciate the life we have, by losing someone. But that's just my story. So that's what I would say is definitely more appreciation.
That's great. Good.
Well, I guess it's my turn. So when Jeannine passed, I was 47 years old. And I had been employed at the time as a therapist in an addiction treatment center. I had gotten my master's degree in social work a week before she was officially diagnosed with cancer. And I can tell you that after she passed, all the training, all the education that I had didn't even prepare me for the path that I was going to be walking. There wasn't any parenting books that I read that prepared me to lose a child, because a parent's worst nightmare is that they have to bury one of their children while the parent, they have to bury one of their children. Their children predeceased them. So needless to say, that my priorities, my values, my assumptions about how I thought the world should operate, did operate, everything was up for discussion. In the years following, this is another reason why grief is so challenging, in that you can't put a time limit on it, because it's not only how it affects us physically and emotionally, it's also in terms of the work that we have to do to kind of figure out what type of a world that we want to now live in. Okay. And doing the work involves taking a look at all of those assumptions that were based on the world that you lived in prior to your loved one's passing. So I had to say, okay, which beliefs stay, which beliefs go, which beliefs get modified, which beliefs get added. And one of the things that for me is that I think like with Jeannine, with you, Jeannine, I learn to appreciate every day. Every morning now I get up with my cat who's now 14 years old, and I say, Zoe, I said, we got to thank God, or the universe or creator, whoever you believe in as a higher power. And I say, God gave us another one today, and He let us wake up yesterday. He gave us another one yesterday, and He let us wake up again today. So I'm grateful for every day that I have on earth, because nothing's a given. The second thing is the things that used to really bother me are just minor annoyances now. And I'm thinking to myself, somebody gets upset because they get a flat tire. Okay, so you get the tire fixed. There's certain things that can't be fixed, and physical death can't be fixed. There's no remedy for that. The person is no longer physically a part of our universe. Also, I valued relationships more than money. Not that I valued money, but I looked at career success. I looked at, getting my degree. I had specific goals after my degree. None of that mattered. What it was the quality of relationships, how I treated people. Could I treat them with love and with kindness? And that was now my mantra, was not so much in terms of what I was going to get from the world as far as material things, but what I could give back in the form of compassion, in the form of love, in the form of respect, that was a product of my own struggles. And so my priorities now have totally changed. I view abundance differently. I have enough. And that's how I view abundance as having abundance of relationships, being able to pay the bills, being respected and loved by people I care about, and also being able to do the same. And just try to make the world, and I know it's going to sound kind of cliche, but just to make the world a better place for the time that I'm here. Even if it's just holding a door open for somebody, just that little thing. And what I've noticed, that you hold a door open for somebody's behind me, they'll hold that door open for the next person. So it's a nice trickle effect. So even if I can do those little things as a result of the challenges of the pain of my own losses, that's how I measure success now. It's much, much different for me.
That's
No,
great.
I
That's
appreciate
great.
that.
Everyone made good key points, and obviously, I know with me, I'll probably answer as well. So I think grief has changed my whole perspective in life, with relationships and family, and just being there to support people as much as I can, because you just never know when it's going to be your last day. So I think you just got to make the most of the relationships that you have with
Yep.
other people, and just treating them well with respect and love. And I think one thing I also wanted to say with grief and Ghanaian culture, I think Ghanaians see grief as a celebration thing, and I think with Jermaine, with Nigerian culture as well, it's kind of similar. So I think when an older adult gets to 80, they see it as a celebration of life, of what they stood for and what they done to make the world a better place. And I think some people might see it as weird, or that there's something wrong with that culture, but obviously that's how Ghanaians and Nigerians just deal with grief, and just going to anniversaries and celebrating life. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.